Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of the Lofty N Scaler, where I, Curtis, your Lofty N Scaler, is building a model railroad in his attic, or loft. I like to call it a loft. And if I can do it, so can you. So today we're going to talk about putting down our road bed in preparation for our track for the layout. So today we're putting down our road bed for our track, and there's many different types of road bed that you can use. I am using cork. I've used some of the foam products that like Woodland Scenics has out there, and it's fine. I really don't have too many issues with it, but I just prefer the cork myself. There's also a road bed made out of homosote that you can get. Which maybe you may like working with homosote. That's fine. I just prefer cork, and so we're going to talk about cork. So when you talk about putting down road bed, there's some things you need. So first thing you need is, of course, Cork Road Bed. So I bought a box of Cork Road Bed, I think N scale, for $20, which is more than enough for what I'm going to do today. And then the second thing I'm going to use is to put it down. I'm going to use DAP Dynaflex 230, and it's just like a caulking that's used, and this is clear, but you could use really any color you want. White, I've got a tube of white. I'm probably going to use at some point. It's all going to be covered up anyway with road bed and ballast and things like that, so what have you. The second thing you need, or another thing you need, is sandpaper. So the Cork Road Bed itself is split into two pieces. So when you pull it apart, when you're putting it down, you'll see that one side has a nice bevel to it. And I don't know if you can see that or not. Has a nice bevel to it. The other side has residue. So the bevel's not quite there. So we're going to have to go in with some sandpaper, and we're going to have to sandpaper off that ridge once it's down, so we can get that nice bevel, what have you. So, and one of the reasons I am using, just doing a little sanding here, one of the reasons I'm using the caulk instead of like track nails is I'm putting this on foam. And when you put something on foam, nails typically won't hold. It'll hold if you're using a wood base to it, but unless you put glue on each little wood nail and into the foam, it's not going to hold. So that's why I'm using the DAP, the caulking. But if you like nails and you're using wood, by all means. But you can use the caulking on any surface, whether it's wood or not. But anyway, so that's basically, and the other thing you're going to need, I'm a little disjointed because I'm thinking out loud here, is a knife. So we're going to have to cut our Cork Road Bed to fit. So one of the things when laying Cork Road Bed is you want to stagger your pieces. So in other words, it doesn't always work out that you have to stagger them, but instead of having like two pieces like this, you may stagger it like that. And that way you don't get a straight flush end across the end, where it could pop up. So if it's going to pop up, it's only going to pop up on one part, not the other, and it's easier to get a smooth, reliable grade for our track. And so the way we put this down is I drew the center line to all the track on the Cork Road Bed. And so what I do is I just put the caulk down, put a thin layer of caulking, and then put one half of this along that center line. And then after I do it, and this is good for curves, if I'm going around a curve, I start on the outside of the curve first, and then I work my way around the inside of the curve with half strips. So I'm going to go down here, and we're going to kind of take a look, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so here we have this switch here and this switch here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure out a piece of track bed here. I'm just going to put this down, I'm going to measure it, and then I'm going to give it a cut right here, because I know that's where my other piece meets with that switch. And I'm just going to put this here like this. Okay. And then I'm going to get my caulk. And I'm just going to put a thin bead of caulk here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to thin it out or flatten it out. And I'm leaving the paper there. I'm not doing anything with the paper. The paper's glued down. And it's just a thin layer of caulking. And then I'm going to just put this down here like this. And then very easily. And then, like I said before, we want to try to stagger our pieces. So maybe I'm just going to have this piece here just before the switch. Here, put that down. And then maybe have another piece here. Since I have a short piece, I'm just going to put this right here. And then maybe a final piece here. And I'm just going to cut that off like so. Oop. Got to put this back down. Just like that. And then what we can do is, if you have some map pins here, I had a big box of these, I don't know what I did with them, but they're in my totes somewhere. But I've got some map pins here, just to make sure that they hold down. Like so. Like so. And then you just wait for this to dry. And then for something like this, since this is a switch, and it's going to be sprouting off to the side, so what you can do here is, I want a little bit longer of a piece here. I want a nice cut to bring it off, so I want something like this. So I'm going to get a straight edge here. Let's see if I can do this in camera or not. I don't know if I'll be able to do this in camera. And I'm just going to hold this down. Something like that. And then we'll have this here like this. But I'm going to have to get some more stuff for it. So let's go ahead and Oop, hit my switch wire. And then I'm just going to spread this out. I'll put there, not like that. Now, tack it down. Keep hitting that wire. I'm playing music. It's like a juice harp. All right. So that's basically the process I'm going to use for putting down my track bed. Make sure that you cap your caulking end with a nail or something like that so it doesn't get all messed up. But I'm going to go ahead and work on the rest of it, and I'll show you the end result. So we'll see you, well, almost instantaneously. Okay, so here we are back. Everything is down. The caulk, you can see, is beginning to dry. It comes out white, but then dries clear when it's done. The spurs like this are going to be sanded down. So basically the train's going to come off here and then just be on a spur that's flat on the ground. Same thing over here. This actually may, this spur here, I might extend over to the other side. I haven't decided yet. If it does, it'll go to a coal mine on the other side. I'm thinking about elevating the coal mine. So I actually may have to pull that up and do an elevation. We'll see. I don't know yet. I haven't decided yet. But making progress. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to lay the main line. So I'll install switch here, switch, and then there's 2, 3, 4, 5 switches down there that I'm going to have to, it's underneath the camera, you can't see it. But anyway, I'll install the switches, I'll install the flex track, and then after that's installed and everything's connected together, we're going to have to worry about making our electrical connections, soldering our wire in. Okay, so I've got a question for everybody out there, and I need your opinion, your advice. I am going to be, of course, soldering the rail connections or the wire, the feeds to the actual track. I have a very nice soldering iron, but I really, the cords and everything really just kind of really drag me down, so to speak. Just the way of working, I'm going to be tripping over stuff, power cords. Do you guys have any experience with cordless soldering irons? I was in Lowe's today and saw Weller had a couple. One was battery operated, one was butane operated, and it said for hobby use. So, but I don't know if they're good. I had one from Radio Shack, which I used for a while, but it really didn't work all that well. It took a long time for it to get up to heat, and then I don't think it actually got hot enough. The one I was looking at that was battery operated said it got up to 900 degrees and was like 3 to 8 watts or something like that. I thought temperature was probably more important than wattage, but for you soldering iron experts, if you could please advise me on something that's cordless, if there is something. If it's not worth the money to do it, then just let me know that too, in your opinion. But I would like to have something cordless I could just pick up, and do this, solder all my connections, rail joiners and stuff like that, without having to be connected to a wall outlet per se. So with that in mind, thank you for watching. Thank you for the time. I know that video is one of those things where you can only do one thing at a time when you watch a YouTube video. It's not like a podcast where you can sit there, or an Audible book on tape, where you can sit there and listen to it and do other things. When you're watching a YouTube video, you have to kind of be dedicated to that video. And if you've watched all the way through, I really appreciate your time in watching it. It means a lot to me, okay? And I would appreciate any advice or suggestions on the soldering iron. So until next time, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. And click that bell icon next to the subscribe button. That'll notify you whenever I get a video uploaded, and you'll be notified of new content. And if I could learn to speak today, I'd be absolutely, positively ecstatic. But it's one of those days. So, thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you next time.